Hello guys, I hope you're doing good and alright. Today on this Conquering Dyslexia podcast, I'm going to explain why dyslexia is so simple. It's so simple to understand, and what dyslexia is, it's not complex at all. In fact, it's really simple, and I'm going to explain that. But first off, because I want to do a little intro, because last time I forgot to do a little intro, I want to say that I got something really exciting. I know I spoke about coaching a lot, and it's open for completely free coaching to help on so many different aspects of dyslexia, even though I said it's very simple, help at doing that. So guys, if you want some coaching, if you want some guidance, some support, some understanding, help you understand dyslexia more, help you accept it more in yourself, help you find little gifts, little strategies you can use to apply in your own lives, in work or whatever, now you can do it. Okay, so click link below in the description to sign up and to have a fun little schedule thing. But I hope you enjoy today's podcast explaining why dyslexia is so simple.
So the big question is this: how can dyslexics like us create a place, a community, a tribe where people at any stage of life can come and solve any challenge, amplify their strengths, and ultimately help them become who they were meant to be? Or in other words, conquer their dyslexia. That is the question, and this show is the answer. My name's Theo Goff, and welcome to the Conquering Dyslexia podcast.
So guys, like I said, dyslexia is simple. It's not complex. Now, why do I say that? Why do I say that dyslexia is simple? Because you may have heard me say as well, dyslexia is complex, and you may have heard it yourself, and you may try to understand dyslexia and try to, you understand, and read all this stuff, and it gets very complex, very fast, and it's a lot to take in, and you're thinking, dyslexia is really hard to understand, and there's loads of reasons and explanations to find it hard to identifying dyslexia. Now, I believe dyslexia is something way much more simpler than that. Way much more simpler than all these complexities. They look at there's four types of dyslexia, and this goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Now, why do I think dyslexia is so diverse in terms of how it affects people? My understanding is that it is so diverse how it affects people, because the cause of why it affects people is the same, but how it affects people is different, because people use it in a slightly different way. Let me explain what I mean by this. Is when a dyslexic person, so from this method that I'm doing, this Davis dyslexia method, that I'm really excited. I completed the one-to-one person training. Now I'm starting doing my homework, where I create little models of words and kind of get past all the disorientations. But how in the last month or so, or maybe 2 months, I kind of learned through this Davis dyslexia method that, and it makes so much more sense. I was speaking to many other people who are dyslexic, who in the dyslexia industry learn all these other methods, and then when they came across Davis, it finally made a lot more sense than everything else, because everything else is very complex. And Davis' method is very, very simple. And I like to think of it when, like what Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain something simply enough, you don't know it well enough. That's not word for word, but basically if you try to explain something really complexly, you don't know it well enough. You have to explain it simply. And what this Davis dyslexia method says, well, dyslexia is simple. It's a result of disorientation. You get confused. The confusion causes disorientation, and then that disorientation, because you're disorientated and you get the wrong answer, and that creates frustration. And when you're frustrated, you create compulsive solutions. And the compulsive solutions are the actual learning disability. What I mean by this is like when you always have different workarounds, because you find it hard to do something because you're frustrated, so you don't understand something, it makes you disorientated, makes you basically guess what it is, or create other mental images of what it is. When it comes to words, you turn your P's around, you take other mental images in your head, then you take those different images in your head and you get confused and you get the wrong answer, even though you think it's the right one. And you get frustrated with this. And then, well, two things happen actually. One, you create negative beliefs about yourself, stops you moving forward. But basically, what's the most important thing when you're understanding dyslexia is you create compulsive solutions. You find ways to not feel that pain again of having the wrong answer. And that ways can be changing your personality, i.e. like becoming a class clown, becoming like a bully, or becoming something like this, or becoming withdrawn and retreat and never picking your hand up. Or you can do little strategies like going to the toilet at certain times, at trying to read ahead, and all these other things. And then we do these compulsive solutions time and time and time again to survive through school. And instead of that becoming like just a little bit to get through a problem, that becomes who we are. And then we aren't able to detach ourselves from the compulsive solutions. And then when we use all these compulsive solutions with ourselves all the time, like, we use it every single day. It's like breathing to us. We don't know any other way. We think that's the norm. Well, that's the way I've always done it. And yet that takes a lot more time, a lot more energy, and yet it goes around the problem. It's like taking medication. When you're, you know what I mean? Like, now we're getting into a different topic. It's like, well, I want to use an example. It's probably a bad example, but it's like taking medication, like antidepressants, when you're depressed. Now, this is just an example, guys. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. But, like, if you're taking something to numb the pain, but yet you don't deal with the source of the pain's always going to be there. If that makes sense. If you don't deal with the source of dyslexia, the pain's not going to be there. And anyway, you can hear, like, loads of other methods say, oh yeah, we deal with the source of dyslexia. And they go through this years and years and years and years of therapy, but yet they still think they get the source of this dyslexia, which is maybe the phonics, which is the basis of English or something like that. And I would say they're wrong. Like, in my opinion, I would say that that's incorrect at a fundamental level. Obviously, it works at another level, but what all these methods do that help people with dyslexia, they do something that helps them. And they may tackle helping dyslexia at different angles, at different thinking processes, but underlying, there's one thing that happens that helps them, like, learn English. And what I'm trying to work at, and kind of my mission, this is, well, one of the reasons I do love the David's dyslexia method, but I'm still like, I'm treating this like information. It's like data. I'm looking for the most effective method possible. The most effective method possible must have the best reading, you know what I mean, must have the quickest results over the most broad range of like kids or adults, whatever, and it's the cheapest. Quickest results, you mean quicker, and cheapest and most long-term, long-lasting, long-standing results, and find what that is, and then use it. And I know that's not going to be the most popular one, because school systems set up in a certain way that, you mean, it's challenging. Schools are big. It's a big organization. It's hard to get some new method that may be a billion times more effective into it, because there's a lot of cogs moving. So that's my kind of goal. And the reason why I love Davis is the understanding of dyslexia seems so simple and it makes so much sense. And it works, and it is a lot shorter than other people's. So anyway, guys, I feel I'm kind of looking. So one of my little things, I'm doing coaching, but one of my other goals is to create like, I want to create like, in my head I'm thinking maybe like a product, but nothing I'll sell for anything. It's just information about all the other things out there. I mean, everything out there, and the pros and cons of it. Of all these other methods out there with dyslexia, and I think that's going to make it, and give it understanding why it works, and that's going to give you a real good understanding about the dyslexia method. Because if people improve, like if people learn how to read in 30 days versus 3 years, the 30 days is always going to be better, even though if it's a wacky thingy. If you think it's wacky, or you think it's outside the box, or it's not in the government plan or whatever, if it's proven to have results, why not try it out? And that's kind of my thing, like shorter the better. so you can like learn it. And I think I'm more coming to it. So like, yes, you always have dyslexia, but I think like the dyslexia, like the learning disability, we can get rid of the learning when it comes to reading, when it comes to writing. But I'm still learning it. I still haven't seen unbelievable results in myself yet. So I'm kind of not preaching from experience when it comes to this Davis dyslexia method. I'm going to preach from experience when it comes to other methods, 100%. Not this yet, because I haven't really came to the end of training. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And one thing I want us to maybe get from this is that dyslexia is simple. It is simple. It's simple. Like, living with it isn't simple, and understanding all these different aspects isn't simple. But when it comes to learning disability, I think it's quite simple. It's not complex. It's not this big thing that you need to understand. It's you getting disorientated, you creating pictures, you not misunderstanding them, and then getting the wrong answer and getting confused, and then getting confused, and then creating these compulsive solutions. And you living with these different ways of behaving because of school to like work around the problem, and then that would make you like struggle more. It's like always have a handicap instead of going on underlying problem. That's basically. And then end of the day, you need to learn what helps you. It's like if I'm personal training a client, like in the gym and stuff. There's two pieces of advice I can give a person. One, I can give a person like, okay, if we're working out here, they say they're in this condition, you know what I mean? They don't work out, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like, they live a normal life. And I can give them two pieces of advice. One, I can give them the best PT, personal training advice ever, and the best program ever to give them the best results over the shortest period of time. That's most healthiest for them, the most healthiest and most best for their body, to the most best results, and blah, 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 blah. That's one piece of advice I could give. Or the second piece of advice I could give is the simplest. Is the simplest thing for them. And if I give the most best piece of advice, like with all the explanations, with all the understandings, with all the different, like, you know what I mean, how to do the posture, how to do this movement, and all that, it will take ages. And number two, they won't follow it. It's too much. It's too much. Taking all my years of experience and multiplying it into this very new person. But instead, very new person, oh, what do you like doing? You like doing this? Okay, do that then. And just do these two other things. And very simple push and very simple pull. Just do that. Not too hard, a couple times a week, blah, 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 blah. These two things and this other thing that you like. And then a week later or a month later, you come back. And then you say, oh, you're doing those two things and something that you like. Okay, there's two more things. And slowly add it on. And because I'm not telling you everything there is to know, because guess what? You don't need to know everything. You need to know what's useful for you. What is for you and what you can understand and you can apply. Because ultimately, like, if I'm not into the whole dyslexia thing like I am now, like I know it's my life mission, if like I was just into my like fitness or, you know what I mean, some other thing, like if I knew that was it, then I wouldn't understand dyslexia at its deepest level. I'll just know what's useful for me to overcome my problems, and that's it. You don't need to learn all the complex stuff. Anyway, that's my little ending message. I hope you're doing good, guys. Want some training, want some coaching, completely free, click the link below. I'm looking for 3 to 5 like clients, like once a week for like half an hour. Once it's full, it's full. Anyway, guys, see you again. Take care and bye.